Hey everyone, how you doing? Welcome back. I'm Fuzz, and today I've got a list of my top 10 favorite disaster movies on physical media for you. And of course, I'm talking about natural disasters here, or man-made catastrophes. And when I say man-made, I'm not talking about like hijackings or something along those lines. I'm talking about any kind of catastrophe or disaster that might be a result of human negligence or human error or something like that. But the main thing here today is that I wanted to keep the science fiction element down to a minimum with this particular list and only focus on natural disasters or human created catastrophes. So let's just get right into it and rock this. All right, so starting off with my number 10 here, we have a Roland Emmerich film from 2009 that's really over the top and nuts, but it's a lot of fun. And I'm talking about the movie 2012. Now, this movie's super cheesy. It's not necessarily a great movie, but what makes this such a fun watch is that the level of destruction and spectacle is so over the top and ridiculous that it's absurd to the point of being amusing and funny. Right. And that's why I like this. It's really entertaining, even though it's not really the greatest movie. It doesn't have like the greatest acting in it. I mean, you got John Cusack in this. You got Woody Harrelson in this playing a total kook, which he's really good at. But, the acting's okay, but it's a Roland Emmerich film. And Roland Emmerich, if he's known for anything, it's for doing destruction and spectacle really well. And this one really takes it to a whole nother level compared to his previous movies. So yeah, this one's a fun movie. It's not the greatest movie, and it's rather long too. I think it's like 2.5 hours long. So it's not the greatest movie, but it's a really fun watch. If you're looking for a popcorn movie, something where you can just turn your brain off and take in some really crazy, over-the-top, world-ending destruction, then this might just be the movie for you. But just know what you're getting when you go into this one. It's a Roland Emmerich film, and he does destruction and spectacle well, but not much else, right? So just keep that in mind. Now, it's worth noting I've got a Sony 4K release of this film here, and I think it looks about as good as this film could be expected to look. You got to keep in mind there's a lot of CGI in this film, so there's only so much you can do with the CGI in 4K because the CGI effects are always rendered at a lower resolution than 4K for these older films, right? So there's only so much they can do with the CGI, and so you might notice the CGI in this movie looks a little soft, right, around the edges and whatnot. But for what this film is and for the type of film it is, I think this 4K looks about as good as could be expected. And Sony usually does a really good job with their 4K restorations. So you can be at least reasonably confident that this is probably about the best this film can look on the 4K format. So anyway, for my number 10, 2012. All right, and next up for my number 9, we're continuing on here with the whole Roland Emmerich groove from 2004, The Day After Tomorrow. And I do think this one is a marginally better movie than 2012. It's still every bit as over the top and ridiculous in terms of the level of spectacle that we're talking about here. There is a lot of crazy destruction that goes on and like instant freeze, which is ridiculous, right? But it's amusing at the same time. But you got a little bit better cast with this movie. You got Dennis Quaid in this. You got Jake Gyllenhaal. And it's actually been a few years since I've seen this one, so I don't remember everyone who was in it. But I do remember this being a pretty enjoyable ride. If you're looking for large-scale devastation and destruction, once again, Roland Emmerich is your guy. And this is a fun movie. So if you've never seen this one, I would recommend it. And I'm hoping someday we get this one on 4K, so I have matching Roland Emmerich 4K movies, 2012 and this one and a couple others I have in my collection as well. Fun film. Again, it's dumb fun. It's a popcorn flick. You turn off your brain, you go in, and you just have a good time with it. That's what Roland Emmerich movies are for. So, if you haven't seen this one, check it out. The Day After Tomorrow. Okay, and moving right along to my number 8 here, we've got a 1974 film here with Charlton Heston, Earthquake. And this was a relatively recent addition to my collection. I don't think I had ever seen this movie before. I mean, I'm not totally certain about that because it's possible I saw this when I was really young and I just didn't remember anything about it. Because I do remember watching at least a number of those like ensemble cast movies back when I was a kid. But, I was so young. Yeah, I don't remember which ones. But watching this one as an adult for the first time, it didn't seem like a movie that I'd seen before. It seemed totally fresh and new to me, and I really enjoyed it. I've always been a pretty big fan of Charlton Heston. He's awesome, and I thought this was a great looking 4K to boot. In fact, I was really impressed with it. I think it looks outstanding on 4K. Now, of course, I've never seen the film on Blu-ray or previous home media editions before, so I have nothing to compare it to. But popping this bad boy in, it was an awesome looking image, lots of fine detail, everything kind of pops, a lot of depth to the image, and the colors pop like you would expect on 4K. So yeah, I was really impressed with how good this 4K looked. So yeah, I had a lot of fun watching this one for the first time, as far as I know. The earthquake destruction in this was awesome, and there was some great tension. There were a number of scenes where they really built that tension up quite effectively, and I just really enjoyed the movie. Yeah, so if you've never seen this one and you're a fan of disaster movies that involve earthquakes, you might want to check this one out. For my number 8, Earthquake. All right, and next up for my number 7, we've got a film that I used to watch all the time. Used to play on cable TV all the time in the late 90s and early 2000s after it first came out. I'm talking about Dante's Peak from 1997, and we're actually getting a 4K of this finally from Kino Lorber next month. I don't remember the date in December, but it is apparently finally coming out next month. So I'll definitely be picking that up. In fact, I already have it pre-ordered. So I'm definitely looking forward to revisiting this one when that 4K comes out. But yeah, this is a really fun movie. It's again, a common theme here. It's cheesy and it's kind of dumb, but it's a lot of fun. And you got some relatively decent performances in this movie from Pierce Brosnan and Linda Hamilton. But yeah, I don't know what it is about this movie. It's not necessarily the greatest movie, but I've always had a lot of fun with it, and I always found myself rewatching it quite a bit when it was playing on cable TV. And of course, it involves a volcano in the Pacific Northwest, which is where I live. So, the movie kind of resonated with me on that level too. So yeah, it's just a fun ride, and I'm definitely looking forward to checking out that new 4K next month. So if you've never seen it, yeah, check it out. Dante's Peak. Okay, and next up, we have a film from 1998 about a comet on a collision course with Earth, and I'm talking about Deep Impact. This was a fun movie, and I have a lot of nostalgia for this one. Used to watch this one all the time on cable TV. It's well done for the type of movie that it is. And of course, we were getting a lot of disaster films in the late 90s. It's part of what made it such a great decade for movies. But this one actually had a bit more of a somber and serious tone than, say, the other similar disaster movie that came out within a few months of this in the same year, Armageddon, which I'll be talking about here shortly. But this one took a more somber and serious approach, I think, or, relatively speaking. And it has a great cast, too. You got Robert Duvall in this. You got Téa Leoni. You got Morgan Freeman in this, Elijah Wood. So, yeah, you can't go wrong with the performances in this film. I feel like the acting in this film was maybe a little bit better than that of Armageddon, although it's pretty close here, and it depends on which actor we're talking about, obviously. But you do get some great destruction in this, and it has everything that a good disaster movie should have in it. So yeah, I always enjoy returning to this one. Again, a lot of nostalgia for this one because I used to watch it all the time in the late 90s and early 2000s. So yeah, Deep Impact. By the way, if you're enjoying the content on this channel, do me a favor and please consider subscribing to the channel. And if you do, don't forget to activate those notifications as well. I recommend selecting all so you never miss any videos that I might be putting out that you might be interested in. Also, don't forget to like the video and maybe even leave a comment if you're feeling so inclined. The YouTube algorithm really likes it when you interact and engage the channel in that way. And they tend to reward the channel with greater visibility. So thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. All right, and next up for my number 5, we've got an absolute classic here that, believe it or not, I only saw for the first time in preparing for this video. And I'm talking about the 1972 film, The Poseidon Adventure, which I really, really enjoyed. And I know it's probably a little bit shocking to some of you out there that I've never seen this movie up until, about a week ago. But, I couldn't make a disaster movie video without at least having watched this one first. And there was another one, too, that I also got to that was kind of along the same lines. Absolute classic that I'd never seen. But I really enjoyed this. And, it's especially surprising that I had not seen this, considering that I'm a big fan of Gene Hackman, and he delivers a killer performance in this. I was really impressed with his role and his acting in this movie. And I mean, I'm always impressed with Gene Hackman, but yeah, this was great. He did a great job in this one. And this is, of course, a movie that I've been aware of my whole life, since I was a kid. I'm certainly aware of the stature of this movie in film history, but I had just, for whatever reason, never gotten around to checking it out. And I did have a lot of fun with it, enough to put it at number 5 on my list. Now, I know some of you are probably going to think that's too low. Some of you out there might believe this should be like at number 1 or something, but cut me a little slack here. It was my first time watching this. For it to appear at number 5 on my all-time favorite list after only one watch, I think that's pretty good. Now, of course, if I had grown up with this movie and if I had seen it, many, many times over the years and had more nostalgia for it, perhaps I would rank this film even higher on my list. But that's just not how things worked out with me in this particular film. But I did enjoy it. I thought it was a fantastic film, and it instantly felt like the type of film that could be a comfort movie for me. It had that warm, nostalgic, comforting vibe to it, even though I'd never seen the movie before. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed this one. And this also had some great sets and practical effects. It really, to me, felt like, classic filmmaking done right. So yeah, for my number 5, The Poseidon Adventure. And moving right along to my number 4 here, we've got another stone cold classic that I was only just now getting around to watching for the first time in my life. I'm talking about The Towering Inferno from 1974, starring Paul Newman. You got Steve McQueen in this one, Faye Dunaway, who I'm a big fan of. I've always loved Faye Dunaway. It's another film I'd never gotten around to seeing. It's another film that I've been aware of my whole life since I was a kid, but for whatever reason, like with Poseidon Adventure, I just never got around to checking this one out. At least not that I'm aware of. I mean, it's possible that I saw both this and Poseidon Adventure when I was really young and just don't have any memory of it. But to my knowledge, I don't think I had ever seen this one or Poseidon Adventure before. And this one I had a lot of fun with. I actually liked it even more than Poseidon Adventure, despite the fact that it's a pretty long film. I think it was like 2 hours and 45 minutes, and that kind of surprised me. I didn't expect it to be that long, when I picked it up. But it's another one of these movies that, when I started thinking about putting a disaster list together, I knew that I had to watch this one as well, in addition to Poseidon Adventure. There's no way I could make a good disaster movie top 10 list without at least having seen these movies. And so I picked them up, not knowing if they'd even show up on my final list or not, but I picked them up, watched them, and absolutely loved them, both for the same reason. Really, I felt that instant kind of comfort with the movies, just, that throwback to old school filmmaking and, the classic sets, the classic practical effects techniques that they used back then. There's some great stuff in this movie. And of course, in this case, we're dealing with a building that's on fire. Right. And so you're seeing a lot of people on fire in this movie, which is something that always kind of creeps me out a little bit. Right. I get this really eerie, unsettling vibe when I see people on fire in movies. But yet at the same time, there's something kind of intriguing about it, too. So I ended up really enjoying this one, and to be honest, I was also kind of surprised at how good my Blu-ray looked. I didn't expect it to look as good as it does, and it's just a basic, I think, like a Warner Brothers Blu-ray. Yeah, it's a Warner Brothers movie. So I mean, this thing looked stunning on Blu-ray. And I can only imagine how good this would look if we were to get a 4K release of this movie, because even the Blu-ray looked just fantastic. So I don't know, both this and Poseidon Adventure, we ever get a 4K release of these movies, I think I will probably be upgrading them because, I could tell from watching the Blu-rays that these would be movies that would look amazing on the 4K format. So anyway, I had a blast with this one. If you've never seen Towering Inferno, I definitely recommend it. It's another classic, and it's one I wish I had watched sooner in my life and not waited so long on, like with Poseidon Adventure. Both very enjoyable movies. So yeah, for my number 4, The Towering Inferno. All right, and next up for my top 3, we've got a title here that I'm probably going to get a lot of shit for ranking so high on this list, but I'll just go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off. The Core from 2003. This is admittedly a super cheesy film, but it's a big time comfort movie for me. It's one of those movies that has a high rewatch value, despite the fact that I fully admit that it's not necessarily that great of a movie. But I know some of you are going to give me a really hard time probably of putting this movie as high on this list, especially above classics like Towering Inferno and The Poseidon Adventure, right? I recognize that The Towering Inferno and The Poseidon Adventure are better movies than The Core. But this one actually has a lot more sentimental value to me personally. I used to rewatch this one all the time right after it came out. And I loved it when it first came out. I knew it wasn't that great of a movie at the time, but I loved the concept of this movie. Actually going to the center of the earth because there's something wrong with the core of the earth. I mean, you don't see that done in movies all that often. Usually the disaster in question is some other kind of like external disaster, a volcano or earthquakes or, climate change, something like that, right? But you don't usually see a disaster movie about going to the center of the earth. And that's what I loved about this. I think at the time when I first watched it back in 2003, I felt like the premise for the film was a little bit more unique than we'd seen with other disaster movies, right? The whole idea of going to the core of the earth in some kind of ship. Anyway, despite how cheesy the film may be, it's actually got a surprisingly good cast. You've got, Delroy Lindo in this, Aaron Eckhart, Hilary Swank in this, Bruce Greenwood. So, and I don't know what it is about this movie. It's just one that I like to return to quite often, like once a year, maybe once every couple years, but usually once a year or so I find myself revisiting this one. And it's one of those movies that I like to put on when I don't want to have to think too hard about what I'm watching. Right? When I just want to turn my brain off and veg out on some good disaster destruction, right? I'll put something like The Core on. So yeah, I'm rather fond of this movie, even though I fully recognize it's not that great of a movie. But I always have fun with it and always love coming back to it. So yeah, The Core for my number 3. All right, and for my number 2, another comfort movie that has a really high rewatch value for me, Twister from 1996. And I remember seeing this in the theater when it first came out, and it was a pretty big deal at the time. The visual effects at the time were pretty groundbreaking. They were considered fairly cutting edge, if I remember correctly. And this one was an absolute spectacle in the theater. We just had such a blast with this one. And I would also say this movie on 4K is the best this film has ever looked. The 4K format really helped with this particular movie. And, previous home media releases, I was never very happy about them. I mean, the original DVD was like the first DVD to ever be released. This movie was like the first movie to ever be released on DVD. And I was never really happy with the old DVD that I owned it on DVD back in the day. And I never really thought the Blu-ray looked that great either. So this one definitely needed an upgrade, right? And that's what we got with 4K, a significant upgrade from those previous home media releases. Yeah, great film that I always love to return to. High rewatch value, high comfort factor, high nostalgia value for me. This one, as far as I'm concerned, is a disaster classic. And if you're worried about the old the '90s CGI like not looking so good on 4K, actually, it's not bad at all. Because of the nature of the CGI, the fact that the tornadoes, they don't have these really precise edges. They have these kind of fuzzy edges anyway. So if there's a little bit of softness to the CGI, it's no big deal because it fits perfectly with the nature of what is in CGI, the tornadoes, right? And the way tornadoes look. So I think with of this film, of any film that was made back then using earlier CGI, I think the 4K upgrade does not hurt the appearance of those CGI effects in any significant way. But the other thing is the CGI usage in this is fairly minimal. I mean, they really did try to do as much as they could with practical effects and real world stuff, in-camera stuff, right? And use the CGI. They kept the CGI to a minimum and only used the CGI where it was absolutely necessary. And I think that shows in 4K. All the practical stuff that they did, it really shines on the 4K format. I mean, even the director of the film said this was the best he's ever seen this film look, even better than it looked when it originally ran in the theaters, right? And that's coming straight from the director of the film, Jan de Bont. And there are some minor, some color corrections. They did do a little bit of revisionist stuff, but that's because the director was trying to get the film to look like he always wanted it to look in the first place. Namely, at one point, they add more green to the sky. Right, and the sky looks really green, and Jan de Bont said this was always our intent from the beginning, and we could never get the sky to look as green as we originally wanted it to when we made the film. So he was really happy that he was finally able to use technology to make this film look the way he had seen it in his mind the whole time. Anyway, awesome movie. If you're in the mood for some tornado action, you can't go wrong with the original Twister. So for my number 2, Twister. Okay, and finally, for my number 1, we've got Michael Bay's disaster classic, Armageddon from 1998. What can you really say about this one? I love it. It's so much fun. And even though I feel like in some ways the movie Deep Impact that came out, within months of this, the same year, even though I felt like that Deep Impact movie was a little bit better on maybe the acting performances and in some ways, this one really has it beat on the fun factor. This one is just a shitload of fun. And I always love coming back to this one. Now, we're actually going to be getting this on 4K at some point. We don't have a specific release date yet, but it is apparently being worked on for 4K release, and that will be pretty exciting. I suspect it's going to be another one of these limited Steelbook only releases, so when it does get announced, you guys will want to jump on it pretty quickly. I know I will be, to make sure you secure your copy, but we don't know when that's going to be yet, I don't think. I'm guessing it'll probably be like sometime next year. But yeah, just a fantastic film. Always love coming back to this one. You just can't go wrong with Armageddon. Okay, so that wraps it up for my main list of 10, but I do also have a few honorable mentions here I want to go through real quick. The first one is from 1997. Have to at least mention Titanic. Right. And I actually just watched this 4K last night. In fact, it's the first time I've watched my 4K. I've owned this on 4K for like 2 years now, and I had never gotten around to checking it out on 4K. And I was like, well, I'm going to shoot this video today. So I was like, I should probably watch Titanic real quick before I make this video. And I'm glad I did. I've always had this thing with this movie where I've always considered it to be like my least favorite James Cameron movie. I really am into the destruction at the very end, in the last like hour of the film, or last even really half hour, 40 minutes of the film. That's like my favorite part of the movie, right? I was never really into the whole love story component of this film, especially because I'm not a big fan of Leonardo DiCaprio. I mean, he's one of those actors that kind of bugs the shit out of me. So, I kind of avoided returning to this one. I hadn't seen the entire film probably since the late 90s. I mean, I've seen it, bits and pieces of it over the years, like when my family was watching it on TV or something. If my wife happened to be watching it, I would notice and maybe watch a few scenes. But I hadn't seen the movie in its entirety since the late 90s. And I didn't plan on going into this last night to watch the whole thing. I figured I was probably going to skim through a few parts or whatever, get through the love story stuff, whatever. But I ended up getting sucked into it right from the beginning and really enjoying myself. So I guess I didn't mind the love story component as much this time around. But this one's on the list, or I should say on the honorable mentions, of course, because it was such a huge film. And I don't think I could get away with making a disaster movie list video without at least mentioning Titanic, because I know this is a favorite for a lot of people out there. It's not one of my favorites, but I still really enjoyed it. And I actually came away from it last night enjoying it more than I did the first time I watched it, years ago. So, and the 4K looks stunning. It looks absolutely stunning. I know I'm 2 years late on giving you my thoughts on this 4K, but it really looks good. They did a fantastic job with this 4K release. I would actually say it's probably reference quality. It's a solid 4K, or I should say it's near demo quality. It really is a tremendous 4K release. Yeah, for my first honorable mention, Titanic. And then I also wanted to mention another Roland Emmerich film here that some of you are probably wondering why it wasn't on this list. The reason I kept it off the main list was because of the science fiction component. And I'm talking about Independence Day. I mean, this is absolutely a disaster movie, but it's a sci-fi disaster movie, and the destruction that's happening in this movie is being caused by aliens, right? So I didn't really want to do that with my main top 10 list, right? I wanted to keep it focused on natural disasters or like human-made disasters, right? But this really is a classic, and I always enjoy coming back to this one. And you're definitely going to get your devastation and your destruction and your spectacle with Independence Day, probably Roland Emmerich's best movie. So yeah, Independence Day. And then the last movie I wanted to mention was one I just picked up on 4K, Airport 75, which came out in 1974. And I picked this up. I wasn't sure if I had seen this before or not. I used to watch a number of these ensemble cast movies back in the 70s when I was a kid, and I wasn't sure if I'd ever seen this one or not. And I was pleasantly surprised to find out that I had actually seen this many years ago. When I popped it on, it all kind of started to come back to me, and like the characters looked familiar, and Linda Blair's in it. Of course, you got Charlton Heston in this one, George Kennedy, who it seems like George Kennedy was in all those movies back then. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with this one. It was a pleasant surprise because I bought it thinking that I wasn't going to remember anything about it. And then when I popped it in, some of the scenes started actually coming back to me. And I was like, oh yeah, I have seen this. I didn't know when I had seen it. It's probably been 30, 40 years, maybe more, 45 years. But apparently I saw this at one point in my life. And I did have a lot of fun with this one. So yeah, Airport 75 for my final honorable mention. And I should say this is a great looking 4K from Kino Lorber as well. I thought they did a good job with this particular release. Maybe not the most mind-blowing 4K, but there was definitely some good detail in this, good depth, and good pop to the colors. So I had fun with this one. Yeah, Airport 75 for my final honorable mention. Okay, so that about wraps it up for my top 10 disaster movies on physical media. Let me know what you think of my choices in the comments below, and what are some of your favorite disaster movies? I always love hearing from you guys and interacting with you in the comments, so make sure you leave me some feedback down below. Also, don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Thank you so much for watching today, guys. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you soon.